NOC. It is time for Diary of a Physicist Farmgal, and this is episode number 32, and Happy New Year to everybody. My name is Deborah, and I live on my family farm in the foothills of the Arkansas Ozarks, and I like to do all the crafts. I knit, I crochet, I sew, I quilt, I like to make baskets, I like to make jewelry. I'm learning to embroider apparently, and I also like to do needlework and cross stitch. So I'll try any craft once and twice if I like it. And I am also a professor of physics and astronomy at a local four-year university where I teach classes to physics majors, to general education students, and I also do a lot of outreach work, and I do research with my physics major students as well. Plus, I volunteer to run planetarium shows. And last but not least, I am a third-generation family farmer. I live on my family farm here in the Arkansas Ozarks where I raise beef cattle and horses. I also have heritage poultry, I have show quality rabbits, and I have a rescue herd of miniature horses, miniature donkeys, and a miniature mule named Pumpkin who thinks she rules the roost. And as you can tell from my fidget butt co-host here, Willie, I am also fur kid mom to 14 dogs, 7, yes 7, 6 plus 1 now, indoor cats, and an undetermined number of outside cats. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, I hope that you'll come along this week on episode number 32 of Diary of a Physicist Farmgal. Okay, if you're looking for us on social media, my Facebook farm page is the same as my channel, YouTube channel name here. It's Buckthorn Farms. You can also find me on Instagram and on Ravelry as Doc Firewoman. And there is a Ravelry Group, Diary of a Physicist Farmgal, where you can find out about Makelongs, you can find out about giveaways, and just general chit-chat with other like-minded people. I am also on Twitter, but I will warn you, I'm a big old liberal snowflake, and if political posts give you heartburn, then you probably don't want to follow me on Twitter, because I try to keep it to a dull roar everywhere else, but Twitter is the place where I release the kraken of my political points of view. Willie, what are you into? So you can find us there. If you're a new viewer, welcome to the Funny Farm. And if you're a returning viewer, I am sure proud that y'all stuck with me through the 31 days of Vlogmas. And here we are back to doing regular podcasts. This podcast will be a somewhat abbreviated edition of what I normally do because most of my whips and FOs you saw during the 31 days that I did Vlogmas videos. So I'm going to just be very brief in talking about FOs and whips. Well, FOs, not whips. Today, but we'll get back to our regular long-winded chatter next time. But first, we have some giveaways to talk about. So let me get Willie out of the way here and we'll do our giveaway winners for the I Am Worth It and the Share the Warmth charity Makealong, because those wrapped up yesterday on New Year's Eve, and I have drawn winners from those threads, and I'm going to tell y'all who won and what they won. Okay, first we'll talk about the Share the Warmth charity Makealong, and this was a Makealong that ran all fall where you could make charity items and give those in some way to a person or an organization. It didn't have to be human-based charities, it could be animal charities. But the idea was, let's just share the warmth as we came into the dark portion of the year and the cold portion of the year. So there was an FO thread for that, and I decided that I would draw 3 winners. So the first name that I drew will win this project bag provided by Miss Mary Knitter from California. She is the one whose daughter is on the board of directors of the Congenital Muscular Dystrophy Association, and if you'll go back a few episodes, you'll see where I talk about that organization and give you a little bit of science about congenital muscular dystrophy. And if you're looking for an organization to support in the new year and you need some ideas, I encourage you to go check out that organization. So it's the Cure CMD on, I think it's curecmd.org, and they're also on Facebook and Instagram and everything. But Miss Mary donated several bags, and this is one of the beautiful bags that she donated with little sheep. And you're also going to win a skein of this Lamb's Pride Bulky donated by Paradise Fibers. Was kind enough to, or they were kind enough to donate this to me to review. So I did a review some months ago. You can go see that on my channel as well. And this is going to be the prize for the person whose name I drew first. And that person was number 47, I Now Hour. Okay, I Now Hour, post number 47, wins this great project bag in the Lamb's Pride Bulky. And I know you do a lot of different kinds of knitting, so hopefully you can put this yarn to use. So if you will contact me on Ravelry with your mailing address, I will get this sent out to you. Okay, the next prize that I have to give away was also donated by Miss Mary. She kindly donated, oh, and I'm sorry, the first place person also gets a little sample package of this Soak Wool Wash. I believe this is the unscented version, and this was donated by my local knitting shop, Knit Two Together. So Stephanie, thank you for that. She gave me a big handful of those to give away. The next prize that I'm going to give away was also donated by Miss Mary. She sent me 2 skeins of the Knitted Knockers approved yarn, Peyton's Grace. Okay, and this is in their colorway Blush. So there's 2 skeins of that. And then she also sent copies of both the knitted pattern and the crocheted pattern. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split these up and make 1 knitted prize and 1 crocheted prize. And the next person that I drew, they can contact me first and tell me if they would rather have the knitting pattern and a skein of yarn or the crochet pattern and a skein of yarn. And then whatever they don't choose will go to the next person. So the number 2 name that I drew out of the pot is Renegale. Renegale, for post number 13, you get to, if you'll contact me and tell me which one you would prefer, if you would prefer the knitted pattern or the crocheted pattern, I will get that in the mail to you. And then last but not least, the person that gets the other one is Shirley Knits 123, the doggone luckiest woman I know when it comes to winning stuff. She's in my virtual knitting group, Miss Shirley, and I just adore her. She is one of the sweetest, funniest, most entertaining people that I know. I love talking with her. It was her post number 8. So those are our 3 winners for the Share of the Warmth Make-Along and the post that got them the winning prize there. So if y'all will contact me through Ravelry, if you'll send me your mailing address, and then Renegale, if you will let me know if you would prefer the knitted or the crocheted pattern, and then Shirley, you will get the one that she didn't pick. So we'll get those taken care of. May not be till about the middle of the month when I go back to work on campus that I can get them in the mail, but I will get them to you by the end of the month, I promise. Okay, so that was our Share the Warmth prizes. So on our prizes for the I Am Worth It Make-Along, we had quite a few entries. It was a chatter FO thread type thing, and what I did was I just took all the photographs and I numbered them and I drew from the photographs. And so the first prize that I'm going to give away for that is, again, they'll get a little sampler packet of the Scentless Soak donated by my local knitting shop, Knit Two Together. And then Charlotte from April 9 Designs sent this gorgeous ball size bag here, sock ball bag, with a nice measuring tape. And of course it's got the horses, and it's really hard for me to part with this because it's got horses on it. And then Patsy, Sparky 136, sent this beautiful skein of Cascade, and this is their Tweed LE, and it's really beautiful squishy yarn that'll make a great hat or maybe part of a shawl or something, and it's got some beautiful flecks of color in it. So these 3 items go together to make our first prize that I drew, and that was, we have a double winner, Renegale. Renegale, for post number 33, you win this wonderful prize with the yarn from Patsy, the bag from Charlotte of April 9 Designs, and then the bag or the little packet of Soak Wool Wash. So great, I'll put those 2 together in one package and you'll get some really happy mail then. Okay, let me put those down. Our next winner in the I Am Worth It Make-Along will get a packet of scentless soak. Patsy also sent this chunky, it's Mosh from Kramer Yarns. I'm not sure how you say that. It's 60% wool, New Zealand wool, and 40% domestic wool, and it's chunky yarn, and it's got this nice, pretty halo, and it's a beautiful purple color, and this beautiful bag from Miss Mary, which has got planets on it. Again, a bag that was very hard for me to part with, but I wanted to spread her good kind work around here. So these three will go to the next person that I drew, and our next person was post number 47 in our stooge. Nancy. Nancy is a friend of mine also from the virtual knitting group, and I encouraged her to post her stuff there. I can't remember which one it was that you won for, but I'm glad that you entered, so those will be on their way to you, Nancy. And then last but not least, the last prize will be these three gorgeous mini skeins from Moontower Dyeworks. Anna of Moontower Dyeworks was kind enough to donate these skeins, and I'm going to link all these makers below, and if you'd like to show them a little love, if you're able to, that would be awesome. So these beautiful mini skeins, and I'm going to send you one of her buttons also, plus Logan of Leon Alexander Yarns donated me one of his enamel pins, and it's a gold glitter lion. I'm going to put those three together, and that'll be for the third name I drew, which was Packy Knits. Packy Knits is Heidi, and she won with post number 55. So Heidi, if you'll, I think I have your address, but if y'all will all send me your addresses on Ravelry, so I've got them all in one spot, that sure would help me a bunch. And this is our list of winners. I am worth it. So Rena Gale, in our stooge, and Packy Knits. So Rena, Nancy, and Heidi, if y'all will all get in touch with me, I'll get these in the mail to you again about the middle of the month when I go back to campus. So thank y'all so much for participating in these make-alongs. It meant a lot to me to see all the cool stuff and talking about them on Instagram and stuff. I sure appreciate y'all being so willing to participate in all those. Made me feel good. So I'm proud that y'all enjoyed them, and I hope that y'all will participate in the ones we've got coming up this year, which we're about to talk about. So strap in, because there's a lot to say. I'm also going to include some other little bits and pieces in those packages of little things that I've picked up on in some of them here and there. So for the first name that I put, there'll be some little extra things stuck in those packages as well. This coming year, it's not next year now, it's this year, because we're on New Year's Day. I have gone a little make-along crazy, but I think it's because I have things that I want to get accomplished, and I figure it's better when you're in a group. I was going to say misery loves company, but it's not misery. It's better when you've got friends to support you. So I am running right now. Sounds like we're having a disagreement about who gets to sleep on the bed in there. Oh, here we go. Hang on just a second. Okay, now that the Hallelujah chorus is over for the moment, as I was saying, I have a lot of things I want to get accomplished this next year, and I figure the more the merrier, right? So I'm running 5 year-long make-alongs. A couple of them I am co-hosting with some friends of mine, so I'm going to tell you about each one of them, and I'm going to put the name of it and the hashtag down that I would like for you to use on social media. They're also in the introductory post on my Ravelry group, and these will all be pinned to the top of my Ravelry group so you can find them. I still need to make a couple of posts, but 3 of them are already up there. Ellie Mae's wanting on the bed. Y'all have missed that, haven't you? Anyway, the first one is the Farmer's Almanac Make-Along. I, being a farmer, plus there's lots of good astronomical information in here. I took the inspiration from reading the different pages of the monthly discussions of the Farmer's Almanac. There's all kinds of information there. I am going to, each month, around the 15th of the previous month, I will create a post that has all kinds of tidbits of information from the Farmer's Almanac. Plus, I'll look up stuff. Like this month, I looked up what Distaff Day was and Plow Day. And I looked up some information about the poet. Because at the top of each month, there's a little piece of verse up there. And I cull little interesting facts from the almanac each month. and try to create an interesting post that can provide you some inspiration. And then you can choose from something and make something that inspires you from that post. And each month we'll have a separate thread, and we're going to treat it like a chatter thread. You don't have to get finished, but you can post one work in progress post per week, plus all the chit chat you want to do, but one work in progress photo per week. And then you can be eligible for each monthly drawing. So each month's thread will have a drawing where I will give away a Ravelry pattern up to $10 in value. Then at the end of the year, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open an FO thread, and you can post in one post all the photographs of the objects that you made. And these can be knitted, crocheted, they can be baskets, they can be jewelry, they can be sewing, they can be quilts. I don't care. I just want you to somehow draw your inspiration from a post, from the post that I create for the Farmer's Almanac. Okay? So, and explain that to me. Like, I noticed that already Shirley has started on her raccoon. She is making a stuffed raccoon because raccoon breeding season starts at the end of January. So that's a perfect post. Or Vanessa, Rocky Mountain National Park was established in January. And so she's going to do the upslope shawl, for example. I am going to do something with this yarn because Stephen Hawking was born in the month of January, and this is a yarn from String Theory Colorworks yarn called Hawking Radiation that I ordered the day I found out that he had passed away, kind of in his memory. And I am going to make something with this that I'll talk about when I get to future crafting. I've got to wind it up, obviously, but this is a self-striping yarn from String Theory Colorworks yarn, and I'm going to use that because it's called Hawking Radiation, and this was Stephen Hawking's birth month. Okay, so so there are hashtags that I would like for you to use, and I'll put them down here across the bottom, and they'll also be in the thread, in the main thread of the post. There is a Farmer's Almanac Makealong post, and then there'll be one for each month. Because what I may do, if I'm feeling, you know, get a wild hair and decide I'm going to, I may go search the hashtag on Instagram one day and give away a random prize. So, yeah, so we'll see what happens with that. But I just thought it would be a fun way to learn stuff and kind of get some different inspiration for creativity using the Farmer's Almanac. So yeah, so there's that one. So we'll move on to our talking about our next. The next one is one that I definitely need the support group for, and that is the Kidder Get Her Done. Kidder Get Her Done Makealong, where we are aiming to take kits that we've bought and either started and set aside, or we just buy and stick back like I do, because I'm a sucker for marketing. And it can be any kind of kit. It can be if you bought a specially dyed set of 3 yarns that a maker dyed to go with a particular pattern, I consider that a kit. If you buy a cross stitch package that's got the yarn and the thread, or the thread and the fabric and the needle in it, I consider that a kit. This little sewing kit has all the materials I need to make. So if it's a self-contained entity and you didn't have to pull pieces from all over the place to make it, I consider that a kit. So it's I'm pretty laid back about it, okay? You know, Craftsy sells kits for things. Red Heart sells kits. Lion Brand sells kits. You know what a kit is, okay? If it's basically all you have to do is provide the person power to get something made, everything else you need is pretty well in there, I consider that a kit. There is going to be only one thread. It will be a chatter type, chatter/FO thread throughout the year, and it will just be a random drawing. So like I might decide in February, I'm going to draw from all of the photographs that are up there. So say it's 1 through 10. So I'll draw randomly 1 through 10, and then the next time I draw, I'll start with post number 11 and go forward from there. It's going to be a random prize drawing throughout the year. I don't know if it probably won't be monthly. It might be every 6 weeks. It might be every other week. I don't know. It just depends on what mood strikes me. It'll be a random draw throughout the year, but then at the end of the year, I will open an FO thread where you can put one post, put all the photographs of everything that you've finished in your kits, and I'll draw for a physical prize at year end. Okay? So the year-end prizes will all be bags or something, whatever I can amass over the course of the year for all these Makelongs. So, again, I've put the hashtag down here at the bottom, the Kit or Get Her Done. And so, it's a place to help motivate us to get these things done. So, that's our second Makelong. Our third Makelong, I am co-hosting with Laura from the A Crocheting Whovian podcast, and it is the Creature Feature Makelong. Creature Feature is where we are going to make amigurumis this year. We're going to make amigurumis, and there's going to be a quarterly theme. Now, you don't have to follow the theme, but if you do follow the theme, that's a double entry, okay? And you can make more than one that follows the theme. Like if you get done with one in 2 weeks and you want to make another one, you go for it, okay? But it can be knitted or crocheted, and I believe she's also taking loom knitting. I'm just doing knitting and crochet. There's going to be Creature Feature threads in both of our Ravelry groups, and you need to be members of both of our Ravelry groups to qualify, but you can double dip, okay? We're going to have different rules from group to group, okay? So you need to make sure that you do what she asked you to do and what I asked you to do to be eligible. So just be careful about that. But we do have a bundle. I have a bundle started that people have contributed to, and it's kind of all different stuff, so it's real. I couldn't figure out how to organize it. I need to get in there and try to organize it a little bit better. But our themes are going to be from January, February, and March will be under the sea. So I have a really cute little octopus, and I would try to pull the pattern out, but I'm sure it would cause an avalanche of stuff that could possibly bury me, so I'm not going to touch it. So under the sea, so mermaids, sea turtles, fish, prehistoric swimming dinosaurs, needs to be some kind of a creature, whether it's a literal animal or it's a fantastical, like a mermaid or something like that. No people, in other words. Okay, I guess people kind of are creatures, but we would like for it to be not. I personally don't want people. You can do whatever you want, but anyway. So Creature Feature. So under the sea. Then April, May, June will be Farm Friends. Okay, and Farm Friends can be a broad range of things because you know llamas can live on farms, and alpacas can live on farms, and dogs and cats can live on farms, and even ostriches, I guess, could live on farms. Yaks can live on farms. Horses, cows, all that kind of stuff, okay? Then July, August, September is wild and woolly. So this is like wild animals, foxes, deer, you know, zoo animals, zebras, lions, that kind of stuff, okay? So, all the other animals, basically. And then October, November, and December is going to be where we do a little flight of fancy and do fantastic beasts. So dragons and mermaids would count again. Dragons, griffins, unicorns, pegasi, all those kinds of things, okay? Each quarter, I will draw from the quarterly thread. So I will put up a quarterly thread for my group. And each quarter, I will draw for a pattern prize, okay? And it'll probably be one that you can choose, but it'll be a pattern up to how many ever dollars. Then at the end, I will put an FO thread, again, one post per person with all your goodies in it, and I will draw for a physical prize at the end, okay? So I will do a quarterly draw pattern prize, okay? And I'm going to do this also where one whip post per week. So one whip post per week. But it's going to be a great place because there are a lot of very experienced amigurumi makers in this group. I am not one of them, but I know that Miss Shirley is, Laura is. There's a lot of people that have a lot of experience making amigurumis. Like Laura made my little giraffe here and gave to me. So she's very experienced and she'd be a great resource for questions. So be sure if you have questions or if you've never made one and you're not sure, this is a great place to learn how to do stuff. So again, that is the creature feature. You can double dip, okay, obviously between her group and my group, or you can double dip with any of my Makelongs. If you can make this work for your Farmer's Almanac Makealong, put it in my, so like the raccoon that Miss Shirley's making would work for creature feature. She just wouldn't get a double entry this time because it's not a sea going raccoon, okay? But it would still count as an entry, okay? So we're not going to restrict you and say you can't make anything you want. It's just if you make something that follows the theme, you get a double entry, okay? I hope that makes sense. Again, there's threads on my group. I need to open the Under the Sea thread tonight. When I get a chance, I'll go in there and open that. So creature feature, co-hosting with Laura from A Crocheting Hoovian. Okay, I'm co-hosting another one. And this one is the I Like Big Shawls and I Cannot Lie. I like big shawls and I cannot lie, and I'm co-hosting this with Vanessa from A Historian Knits. We were just chatting a while ago, and she came up with that great name, and this will be another year long, and this is a knit-along only. This is only knitting, no crochet, no sewing, nothing. It's knitting only. And this is where we want you to choose a shawl that in the pattern it designates it requires 1,200 yards of yarn plus. So 1,200 or more in the pattern, not how much you use. So like if you choose to hold something double, that's not what we're talking about. Does the pattern designate 1,200 plus yards of yarn? And I got this idea because I'm a big girl and I like a big shawl, and several of the shawls that I want to make are big, and I noticed that on her Make 9 she had posted the Vertices Unite. Vertices Unite in the larger form is 1,300 yards. I want to make it also. I've already got the yarn for it, so I was talking with her and I thought, why don't we just do a knit along? Okay. I also want to make the Changes shawl. The Changes shawl comes in at 1,600 yards. And I also want to make a Fading Point, which is 2,000 yards. And then, for those of you who follow Ravelry, M. Mario, as many of you know, passed away. And he had been around the knitting scene for a long, long time. And he was a very, very prolific pattern writer. And a lot of his shawls are gorgeous, complex, and huge, and they also have a ton of free patterns, and even the pay-for patterns are not prohibitively expensive. And so I thought, let's do a shawl knit along. So a 1,200 yard plus shawl can be whatever weight of yarn, but it has to require 1,200 yards or more. Okay. So I'm in my group. She's going to have a chatter. She's going to have threads. I'm going to have threads. In my group, there will be a chatter thread and an FO thread. Okay. The chatter thread will be, I will draw from it probably quarterly, maybe bi-monthly, maybe every other month. 1 whip per week post. Plus, good place to ask questions and all of that. We're going to create bundles to give you some ideas if you don't have any idea of shawls that you would like to make. Then there will be an FO thread, but here's the nice thing on this one, which the other ones are nice too, but if you're going to go to the trouble to make more than one of these big old suckers, you get a separate post for each one you make. Separate post for each one you make, and at the end I will draw for a prize, and I'll try to get something fairly nice, because if you put in that kind of work, you deserve something. Oh, so I will take whips if they're less than 50% completed. Okay, so whips less than 50% completed. And again, there's going to be a hashtag that we would like for you to use, because we might get excited and decide to draw randomly for a prize from Instagram too. So you do need to be a member of both of our Ravelry groups, both the A Historian Knits podcast group and then Diary of a Physicist Farmgal. And I think that that's it on that one, okay? So I like big shawls and I cannot lie. It's better than what I wanted to call it. I wanted to call it the big A ** shawl Makealong. So it's a knit along only though, so do be aware of that. It's knit along only. Yeah, so that is the 4th one, and we'll come back with the 5th. Okay, the 5th one I hinted at in my last Vlogmas episode that I posted yesterday. This is going to be a wide open, any make you want to do, as long as it's crafty. I'm not going to take like cooking or, you know, writing or whatever, which is fine, but it needs to be a craft of some kind, but it's pretty wide open other than that. If you remember, I bought these lovely iron-on transfers to make the dish towels out of, and I said, I have never ever done one of these, and I thought, remember that drinking game, Never Have I Ever? So we're going to have the Never Have I Ever Makealong. Never have I ever embroidered anything, much less 7-day-of-the-week towels. So never have I ever. This is going to be wide open. Do you want to learn to make a basket? Do you want to learn to quilt? Do you want to make a dress for the first time? Do you want to knit a sweater for the first time? Do you want to knit a sock? Do you want to make your first amigurumi ever? So again, double dip potential here. Also with the Farmer's Almanac Makealong and the Creature Feature and the Big Shot. I mean, there's all kinds of ways to double dip on these things. Never have I ever. Okay? So I encourage you to branch out. This is going to run all year long too. So all 5 of these Makealongs are starting today through December 31st of 2019. There will be a chatter/help thread, because part of this is there are a lot of people out there, like I'm thinking about the virtual knitting group that I'm in. We have people that are really good at amigurumi. We have people that are excellent at embroidery and needlework. We have people that are excellent quilters and seamstresses and basket makers and everything out there. So there will be a thread that is chatter plus post your questions. And if you have a question that comes up, I will try to point it out as I record my podcast so that we can all learn a new craft. Tatting, you know, embroidery, needlepoint, sewing, knitting socks, knitting a sweater. Okay? And then at the end, there will be an FO thread. One thread, one post per all your FOs. So it's again a combined FO thread of all the branching out that you've done. One post per person, and I will have a draw at the end. So never have I ever. These are getting done because they're going to the fair. I know the fair is 9 months away, but you got to start planning now. But anyway, so never have I ever. Again, use the hashtags, and I might decide to draw in case I come up with something cool and feel like giving it away. So that one and the shawl one I need to put threads for on my Ravelry group. Hopefully by the time this goes up, I will have gotten around to doing that. And also my podiversary, my 1-year podiversary will be coming up in February, so I might have a little giveaway. I'll see what I can round up for that. It's 1 year of talking to y'all and you getting to see Willie and all that stuff. So, whew, that's a lot of talking about Makealongs, but it's the first day of the year. I guess we got to get all that behind us. There will be some charity ones and things also too going on too, because that's always very near and dear to my heart. But that's where we're at for now. So now, whew, let's move on and talk about finished objects. Okay, I'm only going to show you 2 finished objects. In fact, really, that's probably all that I have, truth be told. The first one is a wonderfully heartfelt gift that I am so proud of. I asked for a yarn wish, and on my yarn wish, I asked for some rustic yarns. Well, Miss Mary came through for me in spades. She sent me this gorgeous package of all these beautiful yarns. There was Rambouillet, there was North Ronaldsay, there was Cotswold. I forget what all was in there, but I wanted to make something very special out of that. So I searched and searched and searched and found a beautiful pattern called Happiness Blooms From Within by C.J. Brady. And if you like to crochet, she's the lady to go look at her shawls, because she's got some beautiful shawls. I think she still has a sale. It may have ended yesterday, but I purchased some more patterns from her, and I've got some more things that I want to make by her. But I made this beautiful Happiness Blooms From Within shawl out of all the beautiful yarns that Miss Mary sent me. Okay. Now, the yarn that's going around the outside is actually a yarn I got from Paradise Fibers, and I have enough of it left somewhere. It's this one here. There's enough of it left in a ball somewhere. It fell over somewhere. Who knows where it went. I'm not going to look for it because, again, avalanche of stuff that I'm going to make tassels and put on it. But this was a very fun and easy pattern to memorize, and you can make it really as big as you want. You just keep doing your repeats and your increases, and you could make it as large as you want. But I haven't washed this yet. It's been too cold and rainy to try to block anything outdoors, and trying to block anything in the house is impossible too. But this is going to be very warm and cozy. Earring. And it matches my jacket. It matches my pink jacket. So this is going to be really warm and snuggly when I get it all blocked out and finished. And I'm going to put tassels on it. So I'm so grateful to you, Miss Mary, for sending me this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful yarn. I will think of you every time I wear this. And I wanted to find the perfect pattern, and that happiness blooms from within. I thought that was a beautiful sentiment. And I'm a sucker for stuff like that. I will meditate on that when I am wearing this shawl. Meditate on that name. So, and it actually won me a prize from the Happy Knits podcast too, from her 12 Days of Christmas cowl. I won with this. And it looks like, remember those old Brock Pick-a-Mix candies, and there was the coconut ones that were striped? That's what it reminds me of. So that is Happiness Blooms from Within by C.J. Brady. My next finished object is in my Erin Lane's design bag that was a gift from Laura that she kindly thought of me when she was at Rhinebeck. And this is a free pattern by A Historian Knits called the 88 miles per hour sock. So let me put them on these sock blockers. These are from Tesla Knits if you need some nice, inexpensive, and easy to store sock blockers. And this is probably the best pair of socks I've made yet, to be quite honest. I have finally gotten my tensioning correct. I do have a little hole in the side here. I think I actually dropped a stitch, and when I picked it up, I didn't do such a good job. But these are the 88 miles per hour socks by A Historian Knits, and this is a free pattern of hers on Ravelry. She has 4 sock patterns. I have knitted, I have all 4 of them. I've knitted 2 of them. And they are just adorably cute. Okay, so let's see here. Let's show them. Well, we'll do it this way. Okay, so there we go. The 88 miles per hour sock. There is a really cute little slip stitch detail. It's a reference to the movie Back to the Future. Okay, and so there's a really cute little slip stitch detail here. Then I knit this with the cheeseburger yarn by Artistic Yarns by Abby, and this was actually also a birthday present from Vanessa, A Historian Knits. So I thought it was appropriate. And then the contrasting heels, toes, and cuffs are Cheddar by Shipwrecked Sheep, because who doesn't like extra cheese? So I am jokingly calling these my fast food socks. Oh boy, yeah, I've got that weird old lady sense of humor now. So the 88 miles per hour, yes, I haven't woven in my ends yet, but oh well, who cares? All right, I haven't washed or blocked them yet either, because again, it is gray and dull and yuck outside. But these are beautiful. I'm very pleased with how they turned out. You can see them a little bit better on that side, I guess. I'm very pleased with how they turned out. This little Progress Keeper was a gift from Kim from my Progress Keeper swap. If you haven't sent your Progress Keepers out, people, go ahead and please do that. I know that there was 1 or 2 people still waiting to get theirs, but overall I think it was a big success. So if you haven't sent them out, please go ahead and do that. Or follow up with your partner if you sent them and maybe something happened to them in the mail. Just follow up with your partner and make sure, okay? But anyway, so this was one of hers that she sent me. So these are the 88 miles per hour socks by A Historian Knits. And yay, 7 pairs of socks for 2018. And considering I had never knit a pair of socks in my life until last year, I think I did all right. Because now I finally got them the right size. And I did the German short row heel from the Knitting Expat sock patterns, because that seems to fit my foot fine. So yeah. Okay, so that's my 2 FOs, and I'm going to show you. Now we're going to move on to, as Vanessa called it, the whip parade. My whip parade's a little shorter than hers, though. So, okay, I'm going to do my whips in reverse order of how much work they have on them, so the least work to the one that I'm closest to finishing. The first one is the Atomic Powered Hat by Argent Gal Designs. Teresa Silver. Okay, she is the one that did the great Knitting Wild book. I participated in the Kickstarter for that, and I started this on a whim, and then my whim went away, so I'm only 11 rows in. I need to put stitches on hold because if you'll notice, this is the old atom symbol and it dips down into the brim, and so I need to put stitches on hold, and that kind of messed with my head a little bit, which I know it's not that hard. I just got to get my mind around it and get the things to do it with. And this yarn is Chicken Coop Dyeworks in their Hen DK base in the colorway Dungarees, and it is the most gorgeous blue, like blue jean blue, and it's so soft. I love it. So I'm going to actually get back to that as soon as I finish the whip that I've got that I am closest to finishing here. So that is in my little sock size bag with the turkeys on it by Magpie Knits. That's Agatha. She's a friend from the virtual knitting group, Agatha. And she's got a cute Etsy shop, Magpie Knits, and her bags are very good value for money. So I highly encourage you to check her Etsy shop out. Okay, so we're going to go on here to the next one. Let's see, where can I put these and get them out of the way? Let's see. The next one was my Christmas Eve recast on. My Christmas Eve recast on was, it's in my Happy Halloween bag, also by Magpie Knits. It's got the cute little spider lining there. I Halloween all year long, y'all, so it ain't no big thing for me to have a Halloween bag. This is the, for those of you who were with me back in the fall, you remember I started the Mystery Knit Along by Boo Knits, the Gothic Angel Mystery Knit Along. Well, it's over and done with now. But I got frustrated because I didn't have the right beading tool, and I kind of got mad, and I set it down, and I didn't pick it back up. So I thought, okay, I am not going to let this defeat me. I am going to do this shawl. It's a beautiful beaded shawl. I saw a finished one in the Lazy Cat Yarns booth at East Texas Fiber Festival, and it's motivated me to want to finish this. I am knitting this in, it's a lace weight shawl, so this is East Texas Sunset by Kim Marie Knitnacks. Okay. And I am barely back into it, but I have done something very important. I put in a lifeline. I put in a lifeline. So this is as far as I am, but I can read this pattern. I can read my knitting much better now. So now it makes a lot more sense to me when I look at it where things should be going. So I think I'm going to be much more successful this time around, okay? And I am going to put a lifeline in about every 20 rows because this is a bunch of lace. In fact, now that the pattern is out, this is what the completed shawl looks like. It's going to be gorgeous, and it's beaded. I've got gold beads to put on it, and I can't wait to get it done. But it's one of those that I can't talk to nobody and knit. I have to pay attention to what I'm doing. So that is the Gothic Angel Mystery Knit Along by Boo Knits. So I will finish it. Just it's lower on the priority list than the hat, because the hat will be fairly quick. It's something that I can take to work and work on. This is something that I'm just going to have to say, okay, I'm going to give myself an hour and a half, a couple evenings a week, not talk to anybody, not get on, not try to be on a virtual knitting room or any of that, and just work on this, because this requires much attention, but it's going to be beautiful. My next one is another Mystery Knit Along, and I love the pattern, but I just fell off the rails and decided, well, I'll just knit it at my own pace. I'm about 50 rows into this one in the first clue. And it's the Midwinter Moon Mystery Knit Along, which is now also complete. by Larissa Brown. And I did her Lunar Phase Mystery Knit Along back in the springtime and just loved it. And the final pictures are out now of this one too, and it's going to be really pretty, but it's going to have some new techniques in it that I'm going to have to learn. I am knitting this with Potion Yarns, who I met at East Texas Fiber Festival. The bottom color, the dark, is called Ancient Ritual. This is Magical Mermaid, and this is Dread Pirate Roberts. Okay. So I think those three colors are going to work beautifully together, and this is as far as I am on it. It's an easy knit so far. I mean, it's not hard. I just got distracted by the end of the semester and put it down, and so now I need to pick it back up. Okay. There are some interesting picking up techniques that I'm going to have to learn how to do, though. Makes me a little nervous, but I'll figure it out. I'll get it figured out. It'll be fine. Got to learn new stuff, right? That's the whole point of all these doggone Makelongs I'm doing. So, that's my next work in progress. Oh, and that's in my, I guess these are alpacas. Alpacas bag by April 9 Designs. I love her bags, again, because they have the sewn-in measuring tape in them, and they are wonderful quality, really nice quality bags. And she has an Etsy shop, which I will link also. Okay, my next one is in a Silver Shed USA Christmas bag that Laura gifted me as part of the holiday bag swap, project bag swap. It's by Silver Shed USA, and this is the Stephen West Boneyard Shawl. I don't even know if I've still got the pattern in here because it's fairly straightforward. Yeah, I do. It's a free pattern by Stephen West. It's a DK weight shawl, and I am knitting this in Leon Alexander yarns in their DK base, and the colorway is called Party on Prince Street. And this is an exclusive colorway to the Twisted Pearl in Conway, Arkansas. Bought it at a trunk show from them, and I'm actually fairly far along on this, but I saved this because it's easy to memorize and I don't have to pay a lot of attention. So this is good social knitting, or good, let me knit for a few minutes before class, or let me knit on my lunch hour. Actually, that's the back side. Let me knit on my lunch hour, or something like that. So it's kind of bunched up because the cable's too short. But I finished my first ball and I'm into my second ball of yarn. Okay, it smells good. But anyway, so there it is. It's just got garter ridges every 12 rows and some increases on it. It's really a beautiful shawl. And yeah, and then I've got my little needle cozy here by April 9 Designs. It's a combo needle cozy and notions pouch. It was also a gift from Laura. Yeah, so I like to use my needles for that because I'm bad to pull my needles out of my stuff when I get stuff out of the bags. So those are my 3 shawls that I got to get to cracking on here. That's why I'm trying to finish this project up that I have right here in front of me. This is in my By the Bay Yarn Co. East Texas Fiber Festival bag. And By the Bay Yarn Co. makes great bags. She's out of Texas. And I will link her shop below. This is the Project Peace Cowl. Project Peace 2018. Okay, I guess this has been going on for a few years now. And it is a, you could have made it a shorter cowl, or I opted to make the longer cowl. And I'm on my 5th repeat, 8-row repeat of 10, and then I do my I-cord bind off and I'm done. So I'm getting close to being done. And I'm using my Advent minis from our Advent swap. Okay, so I'm striping in all my different minis. Laura sent me the minis, and then I've got my really beautiful Progress Keeper that Miss Shirley made me as part of the Progress Keeper swap. Okay, so yeah, so I'm getting close to being done. There's this really beautiful flying geese pattern on it. This is the pattern by The Healthy Knitter. Now, I will say about this project, I was so in love with this whole concept because every day we got a blog post about the seeds of peace. All right, and how we build peace in our lives, which then transfers out into the world. And those posts were just amazing. Sometimes I'd get behind and I'd sit down early in the morning on a weekend and read like the week's worth of posts. They were so good. I totally recommend, even if you're, I didn't finish it in time, but I totally recommend checking this pattern out, because it is a wonderful, wonderful cause, first of all, and it is a beautiful pattern, and those posts are just amazing to read. I went ahead and purchased the ebook, which the ebook I think consists of 5 total patterns, and the money raised went to 2 projects. One of them was a project where children from all over the world and various cultures get to meet one another at a camp and get to know each other just as people. And that helps break down some of the barriers of the other and some of the fears of the other. And then the other project was a hunger eradication program in Rwanda. And our school actually does a study abroad program in Rwanda as well. So I really loved that concept. You know, being only recently getting into serious knitting again, I was unaware of the first few years that they did it, but I'm aware of it now, and I will definitely participate in the future. So yeah, so those are my works in progress. So we're going to move on quickly and talk about future crafting. Okay, I'm only going to do 2 or 3 future crafting things. The first one I already alluded to. I am going to make the BasketWeave Cowl with this. It's a cowl that's knit long ways, and then you seam it instead of knit it in the round. And I think that'll work really well for this yarn, because it stripes in a 10-row repeat. So I think that'll work really well for this yarn. I'm excited to see how that knits up. So I need to get that wound. In fact, I'm going to lay that right over here so I can wind that as soon as I'm done recording. The other thing is, I had mentioned the bonus patterns that were released for the 2 Hearts Crochet Marine Life blanket. And of course, I'm like, oh, I love all those, except a couple of them I didn't really care for. But so I'm basically going to knit 8 more blocks, or crochet 8 more blocks. So I've got to get started back on those. And in fact, I may try to chart out a narwhal, because y'all know I love the narwhals. So that's another future crafting. I need to make some dog coats, which we've talked about before. Then I today started the Big Comfy Doghouse Year of Lace in the Dog Park year-long knit-along for a scarf. And it's to learn to do different lace techniques. And so I was going to use that Loki yarn, but I was told by several people that it might be too busy. So the writer of the pattern actually helped me make my selection. And mine's going to be a 2-color scarf with this. This is Cascade Heritage Silk. And then this is some Tesla Knits Bare Wool yarn. Okay. So this Heritage Silk, I don't think it has a color name. No, it just has a color number. It's color 9996. It's kind of a tonal blue. And then this is just a bare wool, undyed wool from Tesla Knits. So it's got some unusual techniques in it. I've already read the pattern a little bit. My problem is I have a hard time reading patterns on the computer, and since I'm not working right now, I don't have a printer at home. So I have a hard time. I don't like to knit things by looking at them on the computer, which is part of my hold up on that lunar phase shawl, because I'm just like, ugh, I don't want to read that many lines on the computer. And I know there's things like Knit Companion and stuff, but I'm old school. I like marking them off. So that's my future crafting, pretty short and sweet for this week. So now let's move on and talk about science. I decided to skip acquisitions this week because I showed y'all stuff as I got it during Vlogmas, and I don't feel like going back through that stuff. But, you know, I will, whoops. I will include that section again as I do acquire things. I wanted to talk just a little bit about something that I alluded to in Vlogmas, and that's Old Christmas. Old Christmas is sometimes referred to as Epiphany, or I know the Amish celebrate Old Christmas. And Old Christmas came over to the Ozarks via the Appalachians, Okay, I skipped acquisitions because y'all saw a lot of the stuff that I got during Vlogmas, and I didn't feel like going back through it all again. So as I acquire other things, I will show those, but I felt like it was kind of redundant to go through this. And with the gigantic talk about knit-alongs, I thought, or make-alongs, I thought maybe I'd cut it short here. I did want to talk about something that I alluded to in Vlogmas, and that was the concept of Old Christmas. My grandparents actually observed Old Christmas, and sometimes it's called Epiphany, and it's observed by different liturgical calendars. But why is it that we have it, and why did it come to the Ozarks via the Appalachians? A big part of that reason was the people who primarily migrated, or many of the people who primarily migrated to the Appalachian area were from Scotland and were Protestants from Ireland. And they were staunchly anti-Catholic people. So they did not feel compelled to take the suggestions of the Catholic Church. So it goes back to the idea of the Julian calendar versus the Gregorian calendar. Now, calendars are a man-made construct, right? You know, nature does what nature does. But Old Christmas, or it's sometimes called Little Christmas, or it's sometimes called Women's Christmas, because that was the day that the men did the women's chores, happened because the Julian calendar was established by Julius Caesar and on the date we would call the 1st of January, 45 BC. The problem with the day length is it caused a drift. It caused a drift of the days of the months compared to when the astronomical events occurred in the heavens. So it caused a drift compared to like the equinoxes and the solstices. So but it's where we also got the concept of some months had 30 days, some months had 31 days. So you can thank Julius Caesar for all that. But in 1582, Pope Gregory the 13th decided he wanted to fix the calendar and put the date of Easter back close to the spring equinox, which is when originally the early church celebrated it. So what he decided to do was basically take 10 days out of the calendar in 1582. So the 4th of October of 1582 was followed by the 15th of October. There was no 5th through 14th of October of 1582 in the Gregorian calendar. And so this change was made by the Pope, and all of the Catholic countries, the primarily Catholic countries, adopted it right away. But it actually took 300 years for the Gregorian calendar to be fully adopted as the worldwide civil calendar, with the last country adopting it, European country adopting it, was Greece in 1923. But what happened was the Appalachians were full of these Protestants from Scotland and Ireland, and they said, we're not letting these people take 10 days away from us. We're sticking with Christmas when we've always celebrated it, which was now on the date we call Epiphany. So that's where we get Old Christmas and Christmas from, and I thought that was kind of interesting to talk about, since it is astronomically based, okay? I don't have a lot of other science to talk about since I've been off campus for the last 2.5 weeks. If you watched my Vlogmas, you saw graduation, and you saw me steadily grading papers up until then. So I don't have a lot to talk about other than that, but I thought that was kind of interesting, since I'd always wondered where Old Christmas came from. And so now you know. So it's not a liturgical calendar, it's a civil calendar, and there are tons of liturgical calendars that you can look up. Different Orthodox groups have them. In Islam, there's a different liturgical calendar. That's why Ramadan moves. And different things, so you can look that up. It's very interesting to read about all the different forms of calendars. So that's all I'm going to say about science this week. I know that's kind of short and sweet. We start back to campus on Monday of next week, so I'm sure I'll have more to talk about after that. But for now, we're going to move on to talk about farm stuff. Okay, on the farm, if you've watched Vlogmas, you got a full dose of farm life. You know, feeding and watering and taking care of stuff every day. I guess the biggest piece of news, which if you watch my Vlogmas from yesterday, We have had a tragic loss in our barn family, in the Rainbow Riders. Mary Ann's brother, Bill, which we all called Uncle Bill, passed away quite suddenly yesterday morning. And he had been ill, but, you know, we were not expecting to lose him in that way so suddenly. She's very much in shock. I'm very much, you know, still in shock. It's going to be, it hasn't hit me yet because I haven't been to the barn and he not be there. So unfortunately, you know, that has put a damper on a lot of our horseback riding activities. Plus the weather also has impeded. But we did ride bow some, and we did the great Christmas present, you know, hootenanny with the little horse. So hopefully you'll go back and watch the Vlogmas episodes and see what's going on there. I wanted to talk a little bit about something that's cooking that I can smell right now, and that is what we always eat here in the South and in some other places too on New Year's Day for good luck, and that's black-eyed peas, and here we eat hog jowl, and we have greens and whatnot with it, and some places call it Hoppin John. There's a reason why we eat that. I actually looked it up. I knew some of it, but the peas, the black-eyed peas, because they can be dried and stored over the winter, they remind us when we soak them and they swell back up that the summer's prosperity is on its way. The greens represent money. You know, farm people were always worried about money, you know, back in the day and even still. So the greens, whether it's collard greens or turnip greens or mustard greens, represent money. The pork, and I use hog jowl, but some people use ham hocks and some people use whatever scraps of bacon or whatever. Because a pig roots around in the ground, but it always pushes things forward when it roots. It roots up, and that's forward motion. So that's positive action. Where are you going? And then the cornbread that you sometimes have with it represents gold. So it's another reference to wealth. You know, there's different places where this is believed to have come from. Some people believe it comes from Civil War times. Some people believe it comes maybe from Jewish immigrants. There's some references to Ashkenazi and Sephardic Jewish immigrants that brought some of these traditions over with them as well. Don't know, don't care, just know that my family's always done it. And that, talking about pork, had some questions about the feral hog situation. We've seen some feral hogs up here. They are not native even to the United States. These were introduced either for food production or for hunting. A lot of them were introduced to these game ranches for hunting, and the experiment escaped the lab, so to speak. Just like the Asian carp, just like the zebra mussel. You know, these things have gotten away, and now, because they don't have natural predators here, are starting to cause real big problems. They destroy habitat with their rooting. They will kill wildlife. They kill baby deer. They kill baby birds. They kill turkeys. They'll kill you if they get the chance. They'll kill your dogs. And they also carry diseases that our animals can contract, like brucellosis or trichinosis. Brucellosis is a big one as a cattle producer that I have to worry about. It's sometimes called bang. We call it bang disease. I don't know why it's called that. I need to look that up. But it causes the cows to spontaneously lose their pregnancies. And they're also a problem for swine production facilities because they carry the trichinosis, and they also carry the swine form of the herpes virus, which is highly contagious. So feral hogs are a big problem here. There's different ways that we're told to deal with them. You can hunt them, you can trap them. None of those are really making a sufficient dent in the population. The Game and Fish Commission here says that we need to remove 66% of the population per year, because when they have a litter, they'll have 10 or 12 or 15 in order for them to not be a problem, and at most they're getting 40 to 50%. So it is a problem. I'll link some information from the Arkansas Agricultural Extension Office, because they are a problem for crop farmers too. They will root up a cropland, and that's crop loss and money loss. So they are a big problem here. The last few things I want to talk about, I just have a few chores that I need to do. I need to I need to prune my apple trees. It's getting time of year to prune my apple trees and my pear trees and my little nectarine tree. I need to get out and do that. I need to catch a good day to do that, though. This rainy day is not going to work for that. And also, I got a hole in the corner of my house. I talked about that in Vlogmas, but my neighbor came and looked at it and told me what I needed to buy. And I got a couple of Lowe's gift cards as a very kind Christmas gift, so they were very timely. So now I can fix the hole in my house. Other than that, we're just muddy. We need to dry out a little bit. We're very muddy. And but everybody's doing well. Baby calf is doing well. All the animals seem to be holding their own. I did have some issues with predation. If you'll watch the Vlogmas, I talk about that there. But that's pretty much where we're at here on the farm. So I'm going to leave it there, and we're going to come back with a few final thoughts. I need to slot this in at the end of Farm Life. Barn Kitty is now Barney, or Barnice. She lives in the house now. Having some adjusting issues, but she's getting there. But Barn Kitty is now the 7th indoor kitty. Yes, I know, that's a lot of cats. What's one more, right? That'll go down on the paperwork when they come haul me off, I know. Okay, I just want to leave you with a appropriate reading since today is New Year's Day. And there was a little cartoon going around on Facebook that said, what do you think the new year will bring? And it said 365 opportunities. And I love that idea. So this is a poem called To the New Year by W.S. Merwin, and I wanted to read it to you and kind of leave that thought with you. It says, with what stillness at last you appear in the valley, your first sunlight reaching down to touch the tips of a few high leaves that do not stir, as though they had not noticed and did not know you at all. Then the voice of a dove calls from far away in itself to the hush of the morning. So this is the sound of you, here and now, whether or not anyone hears it. This is where we have come with our age, our knowledge such as it is, and our hopes such as they are, invisible before us, untouched, and still possible. 365 opportunities to go out and do good things, and do good work, and take care of each other, and move your chair into the sun. So, I'm going to leave y'all with that thought of 365 opportunities. Y'all check out the Ravelry Group. Come join us in our crazy Makealong madness. I know, Willie, you're a good boy. So, until we see y'all again, y'all be good to each other and take care of each other. And what, Willie? What you saying? You want to, is it cold and rainy outside? Yeah, I love you. Yes. Peace out, y'all. Bye.